funky.
What's up, people? It's the one and only DJ Hustle with another installment of the Funk Basement. I'm in the building with my man, the one and only Stelvio. What's up, Stelvio? How you doing, my brother?
What's up, folks? What's going on with you?
Doing well, brother. Doing well. Just trying to make it through this COVID-19 craziness. But you know what? I'm healthy. I'm blessed. You know, I cannot complain. So it's all good.
That's most important. That's most important. Everything good. I'm not going to complain. Things could be a whole lot worse, but
yes, sir.
It's all good, brother. All
yes,
good.
Sir. Yes, sir.
So what's up? What you trying to talk about? What's up?
There's some excitement going on, my brother. There's some excitement because the NBA starts on July 31st, and today was, I guess it'd be a preseason game, but there was actual basketball on TV. The Sacramento Kings, my Sacramento Kings, were on TV against the Miami Heat. It was cool.
And they got blasted too, huh?
Why we gotta go there? It's preseason. It's preseason. Okay. Yes, they lost, but it's preseason. We trying to work out the Kings, brother. We've been on lockdown for 4 months trying to work out the Kings. All right, man. They listen. They lost 104-98, but that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is the fact that they played the game. I got a chance to watch it a little bit. I'm gonna watch the replay once we get done with the Funk Basement. But I did check out some stuff, and it's interesting.
So what it seemed like in the bubble? What it seemed like in the bubble?
You know, basically, here's the picture I'll give you. Basically, you and I are at the gym playing ball. That's what it looked like, right? I mean, not a bad look, but we at the gym playing ball. You know, you can hear.
So I can say I'm next?
You can say, exactly. Brother, I got next. Who you with? I got 5. I only see 3 people. How you got 5? I see 3. Oh, I got those 2 on the court. Dude, you can't grab Casanova on the court. You got to pick up who's on the sideline. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, you could hear sneakers squeaking on the floor. You know, you could hear the other players on the sideline, you know, yelling, cheering. They did put up, I guess, like a big LED screen, and it has fans. You know, it has a video of fans cheering. You know, so that I'm sure that's for the TV. The announcers were not. They didn't. I don't think they were in the building. So I believe they were watching it from another location. But the announcers were making the play-by-play. You know, just like anything and stuff. And I mean, it was basketball. You know. They looked rusty. Both teams looked rusty from what I saw, you know, but, you know, that makes sense being it's been a lockdown for a couple months. But I can see, you know, it getting exciting. I mean, when LeBron James and, you know, Russell Westbrook are going at it, you know, I can see it getting exciting, you know, so I'm excited. You know, it actually felt kind of good to be like, man, basketball is playing, even though we're in some crazy times right now. You know, so what are your thoughts? I mean, are you excited? Are you ready? Are you ready to go out there and support your team? I don't know who you root for. You used to root for the Warriors, and then the Warriors started losing. Are you a Laker fan again? I know you were a Laker fan when they were winning, and then you stopped being a Laker fan. I mean, I'm sorry. Who do you root for now? What team do you root for?
We ain't really talking about that right now. We ain't talking about that right now. We're not talking about what we rooting for, who we rooting for. We're not talking about that right now.
So,
well, let me just ask you a few questions since you got a chance to see it, because I didn't really get a chance to see any of that. And be honest with you, I didn't even know they had a game today. I didn't even know it was starting yet. You know, I kept looking at the date of, what is it, July 31st or something like that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, July 31st.
So, yep. I just been thinking about that whole thing and how they've created this bubble and COVID protocol and exactly what I thought about that. But before I talk about that, I just want to ask about you. So how did that feeling of being at a game or watching a game on TV, how did the sound effects of fans and on the LED screen and stuff like that, and you're not really having the commentators, or you having the commentators, but they're not really in the studio, or they're not, right there up front inside the bubble on the court, talking about the game. I mean, how did that affect you as far as being able of saying, hey, I'm gonna watch this game because it's the NBA, because it's gonna be totally different. We know that it's gonna be completely different. You're not gonna have the fanfare, the fan participation, the halftime stuff. I don't even know what they have planned for something like that. But I am curious about that, what they're going to do about that, because that makes a big difference, though. I think that makes a big difference. I remember, like, a while back, I don't know if it was football, basketball, or something, when they actually only had, what they were doing was they had the commentators speaking, but you didn't have any noise or background or music or anything. Do you remember that?
I think so. A few years ago.
It was kind of weird. Like, you could only hear their voices, but you didn't hear anything else going on around them. And it was just real weird, and I wasn't comfortable with it, and they stopped doing it. And I think it may have been during preseason, but it was weird, and they stopped doing it. But I was just curious about how you felt about what you did see.
Well, I mean, for me, the first time I think it was Harry Giles for the Kings, made a nice pass or something like that. He made a nice pass, or he made a dunk, something that, of course, would have garnished a crowd reaction, right? Where you would have heard the crowd, going off. And so when he did it, you didn't hear the crowd. You heard players off in the distance, but you didn't hear a crowd. So that was kind of weird. Like, okay. But look, to me, I'm a sports fan. I'm the type of guy that if I'm driving by a park and I see a good game of basketball going on and they look like they balling, I may stop and watch them play. That's just me. I'm a sports guy. I like sports. I like to watch people that are athletically gifted play their sport of choice. So once I got past that there's not a crowd, I understood the environment they're in. Now I'm watching some good basketball, right? I'm besides me being interested because I'm a Sacramento Kings fan and being interested in the NBA, I'm watching elite athletes play this game. And it was cool. I mean, it was cool. It won't take the place of having the crowd there and hearing the crowd, going off and hearing the music of the arena, and the commentators are talking and the arena's so loud that they have to talk louder. It won't get rid of that. But to me, it's good athletics. I mean, it's good sports, and I didn't have a problem with it.
Well, was it people? You think somebody was like in the background doing this?
What is that? What is?
Please cheer, thank you. It wasn't nobody putting up a cheer card. It wasn't nobody saying, please cheer, please clap, or nothing like that.
Well, look, I mean, okay, here's the reality. Let's be straight 1,000, okay? If you're watching professional athletics for the crowd and for all the pomp and circumstance, hey, you know what? Get out of here. To me, that's not why I watch sports. That's extra. That's not why I watch sports. I mean, there are many times where I turn the sound down and I'm watching it. I may have music playing. You know what I'm saying? I may be on the phone.
That's because you ain't looking at it no more.
No, I'm talking during the season. If
it's
a game
background
is on,
music. It's background stuff. That's because you ain't looking at it no more. That's when you turn on your music and start DJing when the Sacramento Kings is playing. You're like, I ain't looking at this.
Listen, on the real. When my daughter was young and I would help her with her homework on a night there was a game on, I would turn the sound down so she can do her homework, but so I can watch the game. You know what I'm saying? So I'm watching the game. I don't need to hear the sound again. That's extra. And of course we're gonna miss that, but you don't need that. You don't need that to enjoy if you're a sports fan. Now, if you're some pseudo bougie fan that you're there so you can have your Chardonnay and your lobster poppers, if that's the reason why you're watching sports, then I ain't got nothing to do with you. But if you're a fan of sports, athletics, watching these guys that are at the top of their game, you will enjoy it.
Well, you know what? I'll agree with you on some level, because if you can remember when the NFL first, that NFL channel first came on,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and basically it was just, ground basement stuff. They had first started showing all the preseason games, or the practices against the other teams.
Yep.
They weren't really showing it on ESPN and stuff like that. And this is when the NFL channel first came out, NFL Access, right?
Yeah.
It was NFL Access. And there wasn't any crowd. There was nothing. You just saw them playing. And so I was super excited about it, because I had never seen, teams actually practicing, teams actually playing each other, doing inter-squad games and stuff like that. I thought that was great, because I just like football. I'm just a huge football fan, so I didn't need the crowd or anything to get me excited about that. So on that level, I do agree with you. But I have to disagree to some extent, because you know that all the entertainment around the actual sport, all the commercials, although we hate commercials, during the games and stuff, they do that on purpose, to pay the bills. But it's all a part of the entertainment, the commentators, halftime shows, the music, the introductions, the big, huge LED screen, all this stuff is a part of entertainment, and sports is entertainment, right? And that's a part of it. So if all that part is missing, I think it's going to be kind of tough for us to adjust to that. Even the sports enthusiasts will be like, something is missing. But I'm not saying that as a bad thing, because you're right. The sports enthusiasts will love it regardless. Especially baseball. Come on, because you don't really have all that in baseball. It's just straight up baseball, right? You have the seventh inning stretch. You just have them, going up to bat, catching the ball, pitching, hitting, stealing bases. I mean, regardless of that, it's kind of relatively boring, right? But you have those huge baseball fans. That's not boring. That's great. Even like golf, nobody, a lot of people don't like watching golf on TV, especially us golf fans who play golf. But I mean, I agree. I agree that, for the sports enthusiasts, it's, it won't really matter. But I think for all of us who really enjoy sports and the entertainment aspect of it, it's going to be cool.
But I guess the thing that I'm missing is on TV, you don't see the introductions on TV. You don't see that. I mean, you may if it's a big game, but you don't see the introductions of the players on TV. You don't see the halftime on TV. They don't ever show NBA halftime on TV unless it's the All-Star game and you got Drake and Rihanna performing. You know what I'm saying? So all the stuff on TV is entertainment on TV, which can still happen. There's still commercials, there's still commentators. They can still go back to the studio, at halftime to what they do, which, they can still do that. So besides the fans in the building, there's nothing different that we're going to miss. Now, if you're talking about being at a game and they're not doing introductions, they're not doing halftime, that's different. But on TV, I mean, there's not much that to me, there's besides the fans in the building and hearing the fans cheer, there's nothing that we're missing that we won't get.
Okay. Well, I kind of disagree. I like all the entertainment aspect, and I'll disagree with this. They do show halftimes and stuff, because if you watch like TNT or ESPN, sometimes games run over and another game has started, so they won't show the other game until the next game ends, type of thing. They'll say, oh, the Lakers have started, the Kings are still playing, and so they'll still be showing the Kings, and then when there's like a break in the action, like a timeout, then they'll show the Lakers or something like that. But I've seen where it'll be a break in the action in the game that you're watching, then they'll show the introductions before they even start. And I guess maybe it's to waste time until this game, finishes. But I've seen that before.
Well, yeah, but I mean, do you look forward to that?
No, you're right. You're right. I don't necessarily look forward to it, but I'm just kind of correcting you. They kind of do show that stuff.
Yeah, but you're right. But that's just extra waste of time, because I don't look forward to the introductions. I don't need to know who LeBron James is. I know who he is. I don't need to know the starting lineup for the Lakers. They're the same starting lineup and then the TV, the network puts it on the screen. It tells you the starting lineup is. So I don't need to see the pyrotechnics and LeBron James walking out, blowing kisses to his fans. We don't watch that. I mean, that's real. We don't watch that. And then the halftime show, do I need to see, a little puppy that can balance on a tennis ball? No. I mean, come on. I mean, we don't watch that. We don't watch that stuff.
You're right, but you do listen to the commentation, right?
I do, but what I told you is they had commentators. They're gonna have commentary. They won't be able to produce a show, right? And when these games are aired, these are shows that are produced. They're gonna have commentators. They have a pregame, they have the during game, they have a halftime, they have a post game. So they're gonna have commentators, But
I'm glad you mentioned that, because now I'm kind of remembering what happened. They actually did show some games back in the day where you didn't really hear the commentators. You would hear them ever so often, but they wouldn't be talking all through the game and stuff. And it was way different. I admit it was a lot different, and I like it the way they have it now. I mean, I really do think it brings something to the games when you do have commentators. I really do.
No, I agree. But let me ask you a question, because we've had this conversation off air. So these guys are back at work, right? I mean, they're back at work, but we still have.
I know what you're trying to do, man. I know what you're trying to do, man.
I'm doing it. They're back at work, but we got a pandemic going on. What's your view, Stelvio? Do you believe?
My view is they need to shut it down. They need to shut it down, and I think they need to shut it down because the pandemic is out of control.
I agree.
And they have no hold on the pandemic. They have no hold on what's going on with the COVID. And so for us to want to sacrifice these great athletes, to sacrifice their careers despite a bubble, I don't care how many precautions that they take for COVID not getting inside this bubble, infecting these players, but it's going to happen. I almost guarantee somebody is going to be infected by COVID right now. And I just heard this maybe a few days ago, and you probably did too, that they've done a number of tests since people have reported to the bubble, and no one has reported that they're tested positive, which is a good thing. I'm happy. I'm happy that's happening, but I don't think it's going to last. It's not going to last. And it's going to be tough to see a lot of these players start getting sick, going down. And they talked about this the other day on the radio, how, they're going to be here all this time. And I know you said, hey, it's not going to be your regular place where they put you up in a hotel and you have no entertainment, no nothing. You're just sitting in the room all day. And you may be right. It may not be that way. They may have things for them to do, things to keep them from getting bored and going out their minds and trying to go outside that bubble, because they have stiff penalties for going outside those protocols. You can't all of a sudden want to bring somebody inside. You can't have any family members come inside. You can't leave. I mean, there's all sorts of parameters that they're putting on these players, and it's going to be tough for them to do. It's tough enough. It's tough enough for us to stay inside all the time. I mean, I'm happy just to go to the store and get something to eat and come back, just because I want to get out the house. It's tough. It's going to be tough for them. And I just don't think they're going to be able to stop that. And if some of our major players, I'm not going to even say major players, some of our players, our athletes, top athletes, if they get infected and something really awful happens to them and their family, it's just going to be sad. And I just don't want to see that day coming. And this goes not for just basketball. I'm talking about football, baseball.
But
Shut it down, man.
But now so look, I understand. I understand your perspective, but let's remember, these aren't children. These aren't kids. These are grown ass men. Okay? And they have the option to not play. They have that option. A few players opted out. They didn't go to the bubble. They said, hey, my wife is pregnant. I don't want to put her, in that situation. My child has underlying, symptoms, so I don't want to be in a position where I put my child there. So there are those that opted out. But let's keep it straight 1 million. This is these guys' job. This is their job, right? Look, you and I, we've had this conversation. You and I are blessed, I believe, because our jobs did not shut down during this lockdown. Am I right?
You are correct.
Okay. Do you get up every morning and go to work?
Absolutely.
So do I. So do I. So do I. I get up every morning and go to work. I understand the pandemic. I understand the risks. I do everything to protect myself, to protect my family, but I don't miss a day at work. I get up and go. So the thing I'm saying is, yeah, we can say, oh, shut it down, but these guys have bills. They have families to take care of. They have mortgages. They have cardinals. They have kids to take care of. And yeah, for you and I, being two broke brothers that barely got 2 quarters to rub together, we're like, what are you talking about? You're multimillionaires. But it's all relative, okay? When you are a millionaire, you live like a millionaire, okay? When you got 2 quarters to rub together, you live like you got 2 quarters to rub together. So what I'm saying is, there are a lot of these guys, I don't believe, can afford to miss a season of paychecks. They can't afford it. They can't afford it. They're making a decision. They have to go to work. They have to go to work in order to make sure that their family is in a situation they want them in, and they can take care of business. So can they get infected? Of course they can. But you and I can't. You and I can't. People have been infected that were shuttered at home. Somehow they got infected. They went to the grocery store. They went and got gas and they got infected. We really don't know how this infection is moving. We really don't, So, I'm not crying a tear for these guys like, oh my God, you're in such a high risk situation. Listen, you're being paid a king's ransom. And so if you decide to go get that king's ransom, go get it. Just be smart. Now, come on, these are multi-million. The NBA is $1 billion industry, okay? In this bubble, there are more than enough things for them to do. These guys are not in college. It's not like when you and I was in college and we wanted to sneak out the dorm room, okay? They're not in college, okay? If you leave the bubble, then you're jeopardizing your health, you're jeopardizing your paycheck, you're jeopardizing your family's health. So my hope is that they're smart and they understand that, hey, we got to do this for 3 months. I get my paycheck, I'm good. But we'll see.
Look, you know what? I understand your comparison and why you want to compare these multi-millionaires to us. No, don't compare them to us because we are not them. You're right. We go to work every day because we have to, right? But I want to tell you this. I'm afraid every day. I'm not going to lie. I'm afraid every day that I'm going to come home and spread this virus. Because basically, because of what I do, I am exposed to it every day. So if I was a multimillionaire, if I was a LeBron James or any one of these other really rich players, it's your fault if you don't have your money under control and you can't quit when you want to quit.
But still,
I mean, no. I listen to you, bro. I listen to you, bro. Listen, son. Listen. I'm telling you, if I'm a multimillionaire like that, I'm shutting it down. I don't have to get up and work. I don't have to do that. I already got my money.
Hold on. Let me stop. Hold on. No.
Especially since they got these guaranteed salaries.
No,
bro.
No. Listen.
I'm shutting it down. I'm not gonna put my family at risk, son.
LeBron James. Does LeBron James sign his own paycheck? Who signs LeBron James's paycheck? Jenny Buss. Jenny Buss. You ain't got to tell me. I'll tell you. Jenny Buss signs it, not LeBron James. So LeBron James, when his check don't hit his account, he's got to call HR for the Lakers and say, "Hi, this is LeBron James. I think today's payday, but my check's not showing up." "Okay, Mr. James, we'll give you a call right back." Okay? LeBron James is an employee just like you and I. Okay? LeBron James does not control his career. If Jenny Buss decides she don't want LeBron James to be a Laker, LeBron James is no longer a Laker. Okay?
Okay.
So,
all right.
as I told you, it's all relative. There are homeless people that look at you and me and say we should have enough money where we don't have to go to work during this pandemic. Because you and to the homeless people, we're rich.
Well, ask them homeless people, did they graduate?
And, okay, listen, that's a different topic. What I'm saying is it's all perspective. It's all your perspective.
If they looking at us like we don't have to go to work.
But Sylvia, what I'm saying is,
come on, bro.
Listen, what I'm telling you is the same way you're laughing at that, I guarantee you there's some professional athletes that laugh at what you just said. Yes, they got to go to work. Let me share this with you, okay? Listen, I know I interrupted you, and I apologize. That was rude, but DJ Hustle got a point to make. So listen to what I'm about to tell you, okay? The wifey and I hung out on the weekend, okay? We actually was in the Bay. We was in the Bay, right? We didn't come by and
Wait
visit.
a minute.
We didn't stop by.
Stop right there, dude.
We didn't stop by.
Right there.
Listen.
You came to the Bay. You know, I got to interrupt you, man. You came to the Bay. You came to the Bay and didn't holler at me.
Listen. We was in the Bay, but we were down and out.
And then you gonna mention that on the segment too?
Listen.
Oh,
listen.
Wow.
We were down. We were there and back. We were trying to social distance.
No need to explain, man. It's cool.
Here's what I'm saying to you. While we were down there,
this cat
wife
right here.
the wife and I saw these beautiful homes in San Francisco. Okay, so I Googled, because you can look up price. I Googled what these homes are valued at. All right. These homes have the Pacific Ocean as their backyard. Okay. So 15 million, 12 million, 30 million were the values of these homes that my wife and I are driving by. Okay. Beautiful homes in beautiful neighborhood. Okay. So let's imagine that your boy, DJ Hustle, signed a multi-year NBA contract. And let's say I'm making, I don't know, let's say I'm making $100 million over 5 years. Okay.
Guaranteed, right?
Guaranteed. Okay. But then let's say, because again, we know Uncle Sam will get his, Uncle Sam takes half of it, right? Let's just pretend I don't have any tax protection. I don't have any foundations to put the money in. They just take half of it. So I'm actually only getting 50 million over 5 years. So I'm getting 10 million a year. Okay. But I'm so excited. I buy that $15 million house in San Francisco that I saw. Right. So when I looked at the realtor thing on it, that mortgage with whatever the interest rate was $12,000 a month. That was the mortgage, $12,000 a month. Okay. Right. So again, when you start putting the math together with the mortgage, let's say me and the wifey have 3 kids. I got my Range and my Maybach. You know what I'm saying? She got her, whatever car she want. We big balling. You and I are flying to Paris to kick it every other month. You know what I'm saying? We just big balling. Well, look, if I'm kicking out a lot of money, that means I need to make a paycheck every time the season rolls around. Because the mortgage man don't care that we're in pandemic and DJ Hustle, you can't pay your $12,000 a month mortgage, right? So what I'm saying is it's all perspective, right? We can say, yeah, they should have enough money. They should be able to sit out. But that's not being real or honest, because they make millions of dollars. So they live like they make millions of dollars. LeBron James has 3 homes, to my knowledge, in Cleveland, in Miami, and in LA. Okay? And I guarantee you those homes are not paid off. I guarantee you that. They're not paid off. He's paying mortgage on them. Okay? So, again, listen, would it be great if we could just all shut down and stay at home to get through this thing? That'd be awesome. But the reality is, no, we can't. We can't do that. And you know we can't do that. Well, you know we can't. Again, I'm just like you. I pray to God every time I go to work that I'm good, that I don't come down with anything. Because I got to check on my parents, I got my wife, got my in-laws. But we got to go to work because we got to make a paycheck. Simple as that.
You're right. We got to go to work. Look, man, look. If, you're a big time, sports star and you're making a lot of money, yes, you're going to live like you're a star. I mean, who wouldn't? You're going to live because you earned it. Well, if my family was in jeopardy, if I was having problems such as what we're having now with COVID, personally, I would not put my family in jeopardy. I would not put my friends in jeopardy just because I want to play my sport, just because I want the sport to be available to the public, because I want my ownership to be able to pay their bills. Look, the main thing, the most important thing is for you and your family to be healthy. Now, as far as them, living this lifestyle and they making all this money, but the government is taking half of it, look, be smart about it then. If you have 3 or 4 houses, sell 2 of them, sell 3 of them. Why don't you do that? If you get a really good accountant, if you smart about your money, why don't you use all these tax shelters that all these rich people have so they don't have to be paying all these taxes to the government? Why don't you do that? If you feeling real bad about your buddy on the bench here and he only making $300,000, but he living, a $400,000 life, well, why don't you bring all these players together and help each other out? Why don't you do that? If you really think about it, bring all these players together. I mean, for example, I just read an article today about Russell Wilson. He got a problem with the protocols that the NFL bringing because his wife is pregnant now, again. And he has a valid point. And I think all the players who are deciding to stay home and not play because of COVID is absolutely right. They want to protect themselves, their family. They got enough money. If you protected your money, I guarantee you wouldn't be playing. I wouldn't be playing. Unless I know this COVID, I'm not a risk for COVID, I'm not going to play. Because you are absolutely at risk if you're going to play basketball, if you're going to play football, and you got people all up in your face, you playing tight defense, somebody breathing on you. Oh, come on, man. Seriously? You feel like they got to go because they got to pay their bills? That's their own fault. That's their fault.
Stelvio, again, you're right, and you're right when you talk about the dangers and the exposure these men are going through by playing their respective sport. You're absolutely right. Russell Wilson is totally correct to think about his wife. Okay, she's pregnant. He knows that he could be exposed. He doesn't want to jeopardize her health, their unborn baby's health. I'm down for that. And I'm okay with any athlete that decides, you know what, I don't want the risk. But for you and I to sit here and talk about them like they're so much different than us. Like they are this high up where they have all this money they've set aside, like chipmunks who put away nuts for the winter. That's not being honest. That's not being honest. Again, it's all about a person's perspective. There are people who are struggling worse than you and I, who are struggling, who jobs shut down and they have not reopened since the pandemic. And they look at you and me with the thought of, man, them cats, they got it going on because they can still go to work. Okay? Right? I mean, they do. There are people who work from home that look at us like, well, how come you don't have a job where you can work from home? That's ridiculous that you have a job where you have to go into the job. How come you don't have a job where you can work from home? I had a conversation with a person a couple months ago where I explained to them only 30% of Americans can work from home. 70% have to go into a job. So working from home is not something that the American workforce is designed for. Okay. So when we look at these athletes, yes, they're multimillionaires. Yes, they make more money than we can imagine. But the reality is that when you make more money, you spend more money. You and I were blessed to work for a brokerage company years ago when we were a little bit younger, where we made a lot of money. Would you agree?
I agree. We
made a lot of money, and we spent a lot of money.
Hey, don't put our business out like that. Don't be putting our business out like that.
Hey, I'm being straight 1 trillion right now. Okay, all right. We made a lot of money. We spent a lot of money. Now we've talked about, we laughed about it, like, man, if we would have set aside, if we would have saved, if we would have did this, that, or other. Well, why did we spend? Because we were making it. That's why we were spending it. We were making it. We were making it. It was coming, right? We were working hard and we were making it. So we spent it. So again, when I look at these players, I can't fault them if they're like, look, I got to go to work. I got to go to work. The same reason I get up in the morning and go into my job. Not because I want to, I have to. I have to go to work. I cannot afford to not go to work. The what will happen if I don't go to work will be something that I don't want to do. I don't want to face what will happen if I don't go to work. So I'd rather face the risk of going into work. And so to me, I can respect a football player, a basketball player, a golfer, hockey player, whatever, that says the same thing. I can't sit there and say, oh, you should have saved your money. Because remember, nobody saw this pandemic coming. This pandemic came out of nowhere. It's not like they had 5 years to ramp up for it. It came out of nowhere. You know, I mean, we talk about LeBron James. LeBron James is probably the one player, and I'm sure there's others, that's probably in a financial position to not play if he chose not to. Okay, he's probably in a financial position. But even LeBron James has other irons in the fire that he's trying to take care of. I know he has a production company. There are movies he wants to do. There's other stuff. So he may be making a decision based on his financial portfolio. Hey, I need to play. I cannot afford to not play right now because of things I have in line. I mean, to me, that's just being real. But I don't think we can put them on this pedestal like, oh, you have all this money. You should have money to sit out and be able to pay your bills still. That to me, I don't think that's fair. That's not fair for us to say that.
No, I mean, look, I'm not being judgmental about anything. You know, I'm just expressing my opinion. And I mean, if you want to talk about, you know, what we did in the past, yes, you know, we were blessed enough to be in a position where we were making, you know, some decent money. And it didn't seem like it was going to stop. You know, it was at a certain point where we was like, oh, we're going to be broke off. We're going to be rich. We're going to be rich. But to be real about it, we just weren't smart about it. We weren't smart about it. You know, if we really would have sat down and thought about it. And I want to say it was a guy who was probably working in your department at that time. And one thing he told me, and we were really young at this time, and he was really young too. And this was his parents was saying, hey, put as much as you can away in your retirement and don't look back. You know, don't look back. Start from day one. Don't wait until you start making more money. You done paid all your bills off and all that type of stuff. Just put money away. Put your, what is it, like 10% or something like that, 12%. I just can't remember the amount that you were allowed to put, the maximum amount. But he said, put the max amount in and live off what you have and keep it going until you leave here and then roll it over to wherever you work next. But just keep that retirement going so you have that put aside when anything happens. So, and I thought that was really good advice, you know, and I did do part of that. You know, I didn't do the maximum, but I did put stuff away. But I'm just saying that to say, just because we weren't being smart, you know, other people can be smart about it, right? We all should be smart about putting our money away for a rainy day, for preparing for catastrophes. I know you know that. I know you've taken finances class. We both taken finances classes. finance classes, and they always tell you to have at least I don't know, 6 months of rent or your mortgage put away in case you lose your job or something crazy happens, right? I mean, these are all precautions on what you can do if something crazy happens, right? You know, football players, basketball players, baseball players, when it comes to the union and stuff like that, you know, and they talk about trying to gain control over what goes on in their union and the CBA and the NFLPA and stuff like that. They talk about, hey, we need to prepare because we are going to want something, right? And the way for us to prepare for that is to put money aside or think about, okay, what's going to happen if this happens? What's going to happen if we want to hold out and not allow ownership to take full control so we can at least get something out of what we're trying to do in the NFL and for our futures and for people coming behind us? Well, we can sit down and try and do it. You're right. It's not fair. We can't judge people based on what type of money they're making because we all are on different levels. That's true. But if we would be truthful with ourselves and try and do the right thing with our money, then we can prepare for certain catastrophes. We can prepare if a family member passes away. We can prepare if we pass away. You know, I put money away in case something happens to me so my parents don't have to worry about that. You know, they've done the same thing. You know, rich people do the same thing. You know, they set up estates, they set up wills, they do all kind of stuff to protect themselves, their family, and their worth, right? You know, they protect themselves in case catastrophes happen. You know, why do you think they don't want to pay all? Nobody wants to pay a bunch of taxes, right? Nobody wants to pay that, right? And so NFL players, basketball players, if they do right by their money, you know, you're right. It's not being real that you're going to do that just because all of a sudden I'm making, you know, I got a $85 million up front. You know, next year I ain't going to have but 20 million because I done went berserk because I don't know how to spend my money. Well, truth be told, that actually stuff like that happens all the time, right? But when it comes to my family, when it comes to people I care about and my own health, that's a completely different animal. That's a completely different story, right? If this doesn't happen and they just want to go on strike or do all that type of stuff, they don't have a problem with that for a while. And then they say, hey, I got to go back and pay my bills. You're right, but this is completely different. A pandemic, this is your health. You know, going on strike, that's nothing to do with your health, right? But the pandemic, that you could die. You could die. So why jeopardize yourself when you have the ability to sit out for a while and hold out and wait and try and see what's going to happen?
But again,
why don't you protect your players as an owner? Why don't you protect your?
Because the same. Listen again. We're probably not going to see eye to eye on this, but the same reason your job don't protect you as an employee, same reason my job don't protect me as an employee. My job my job is a $1 million company. They could have shut down the company and still paid us our paychecks. They could have done that. Why didn't they? Because they ain't gonna do that. That's why they ain't gonna do that. When the state of California deemed my company as essential, they was like, yes, we are open for business. Okay, they weren't gonna shut it down. Same reason with your job. So what I'm saying is, I'm not looking at the owners. Okay, I'm saying that we cannot. Listen, here's the problem. Okay, I'm about to get deep. I hope you got your shovel. We going deep right now. Okay, we're going deep in the funk basement right now. Okay, here's the problem. White society tries to separate black men. They try to separate us between poor black men, middle-class black men, and rich black men. They make us think that we're different. They make us think that because we reach a certain class level, that we're not like the other brothers. When the reality is, we're all exactly the same. We're all exactly the same, okay? All right? The brother making minimum wage has the same worries, concerns as the brother making what's considered a middle class wage as the brother who's what we consider rich. Okay? We talk about LeBron James. LeBron James has the same concerns and worries that you and I have. He's concerned about his family. He has, 3 kids, 4 kids? He has a wife. Okay, he has a mom. He's concerned about his family. He doesn't want anybody's family to get sick. Okay? He goes to work every day to provide for his family. Okay? So, planning for someone's, passing or planning for retirement, that's different than all of a sudden your job shuts down. Okay? And now you have a chance to go back to work. Okay? And now you're making a decision, am I going to go back to work? Okay? So what I'm saying is, if my job is shut down for 3 months, and then they open up and they say, hey, on July 31st, you can come back to work. I'm going back to work. I'm going back to work because I need to put my family in, because what I do, I mean, let's take my daughter, for example. Not just the financial monies that I provide her, but my health coverage covers her. So if I'm not working, if my health coverage is shut down, her health coverage is shut down, right? So again, we gotta understand that we're not different. So these brothers that are looking at themselves say, look, I gotta go to work. They're not doing it for the fans. They're not doing it for the owners. They're not doing it. They're doing it because they gotta get a paycheck. I guarantee you, if the NBA told you, hey, we're not gonna pay you, nobody would go back to work. They'd be like, okay, you're not paying us. Or if the NBA was like, we're gonna keep paying you, you don't have to come back. The reason why the conversation came up to start the season again is the NBA stopped paychecks. They stopped paying them. That's why the conversation came up. Because they weren't going to get paid. They weren't going to continue to get paid if they weren't playing. Because that's how the CBA is set up. That's the reason why the conversation came up about restarting the season. So again, you're right in everything you're saying, and I'm not disagreeing with the health concerns and the risks. But I am disagreeing that just because a brother is financially got more zeros behind his paycheck than you and I, that he's different. Unless you sign the bottom of your check, you have no control. That's what the brothers got to understand. Every black man watching this Funk Basement episode needs to understand that. If you're not signing the bottom of your check, you have no control. I don't care how much money you make. If you make $1 billion a year, if somebody else is signing your check, that means that person makes $1 trillion a year. So you're an employee. And as long as you're an employee, that means you got to get a paycheck. When you're an owner, you don't get paychecks as owner. You get revenue. Owners get revenue. Employees get paychecks. Okay? So when LeBron James becomes an owner, he'll get revenue. Right now, he gets a paycheck. That's how the game works.
Okay, brother. Let me correct you on something.
Correct me, brother. I'm ready.
Let me correct you on something.
Correct me.
You just indicated that we're all the same, right? You said we're no different than somebody who's making $1 million, than someone who has a paper route, making a couple of dollars. You're saying that we're not different. Now, say for example, I don't know, I'm just throwing a lady up in the air, Holly Berry, right? You have Holly Berry sitting there, waiting on her date, right? I drive up in my Pinto. Flavor Flav drives up in a Benzo. Whose car do you think she's getting in? My Pinto or that Benzo?
Yeah, she's probably getting the Benzo. You're probably right. She's getting the Benzo. You're probably right.
Right. So we are different.
But let me ask you.
Let's
continue that scenario. Don't stop now. Let's continue the scenario. So Halle Berry and Flavor Flav drive off in the Benzo. You drive off right behind them in the Pinto. Okay. The Oakland PD pull you and Flavor Flav over. Who getting beat with the Billy Club? Both of y'all, because you're black men. Because you're exactly the same. Because Oakland PD don't give a damn if you're Flavor Flav that's a millionaire, or you Stelvio that gotta go to work in the morning. I'm beating your asses because you're black. We're all the same. Don't let the man brainwash you and think we different. We all the same, brother.
No, if you got a bigger checking account than I do, you're a little different, bruh. You're a little
That's
bit
what they
different.
want you to believe, Stelby. They want you to believe
You're
that.
a little bit different,
Come
bro.
on now. They want you to
You're a
believe
little
that, brother.
bit different,
That's
bro.
that
You got more
separation.
money than
That's how
I
they
do.
separate us.
You walk in
That's
a
how they
restaurant.
separate us.
I ask for a table in the back, next to the window, you know, where I can see the entire restaurant and give preferential treatment. I give him $1 tip. You give him $100 tip. Who getting that backseat table? Who getting that table?
Listen, I'm not talking about
We
superficial
different.
things.
We'll be
I'm not
different.
talking about. I'm not.
And
talking
you'll
about
notice how we different.
I'm not
Just like how
about
you
super-
notice if a white dude walk in a nice restaurant, a black dude walk in the restaurant. The black dude asked for a nice table, the white dude asked for a nice table. We end up sitting at the bar, he's sitting at the nice table with free accommodations. We're different, brother. We different.
Listen, I never said we was the same as the white dude. I'm talking about as brothers, okay? As brothers, okay? No, you're right. All of our
no, you was talking about money and the separation of money.
Listen,
big money,
you drive through,
money.
You drive through East Oakland. Get in your car tonight and drive through East Oakland and see if they treat you different or the same. And call me. Let me know how they treat you. Okay? See if they treat
different
you
or the same as what? What are you comparing it to?
As they treat all black men. Get dressed up, put a shirt and tie on, okay? Drive through East Oakland and see if the police treat you different because you're a black man dressed up in a shiny new car, or they treat you like they treat every other black man in East Oakland. Well, give me a call, and I'll keep some money on the side for bail. When you call me from jail, talking about hustle. I don't know what happened. I was like, "Excuse me, officer, can you direct me?" I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Exactly. I'll be waiting. So I can get you out. I can get some bail, get you out of jail. You know what I'm saying? We're all the same, my brother. We're all the same.
Look, you talking about billy clubs getting slapped upside the head. You know, that's a little bit different than we talking about basketball, the bubble, and COVID. That's a little bit different.
What I'm talking about.
You're going out in left field now, brother.
Well, what I'm
we
saying,
are different than these rich guys playing sports.
What I'm saying is their worries are the same as our worries. And they have a
responsibility just like we do to protect ourselves and our family.
Their worries are the same as our worries. That's what I'm saying. So so we're gonna wrap this up, okay? All right. I'm gonna make my statement. I'm gonna let you make your statement, and we're gonna wrap it up for the people. What I'm saying is their worries are the same as our worries. Okay. The same way that you and I we feel an obligation to go to work because of the things we have to take care of, even though we know we're putting ourselves at risk right now going to work. They have the same thought process. Just because they make millions of dollars doesn't change their thought process. The guys who are playing ball feel an obligation to go to work to get a paycheck. Okay? Now, we can disagree with it. We can say that we wish they wouldn't do it. But to me, hey, as a man, you do what you got to do as a man. Okay? So that's my take on it. What's your take, Stelby, as we wrap this up?
Mine is pretty simple. Mine is, look, if you need to go to work, you go to work. You know, you go to work, make your money, protect you and your family the best way you know how, right? But if you got your money straight, if you have taken care of your money the way you're supposed to, and you have the ability not to take on COVID, do it. Don't go play. Shut it down. Protect your family. Protect yourself. You know, you're a basketball player, football player. If you're a young football player, basketball, a young athlete, protect yourself. You know, you got a little time where you'll be able to play again. And even if not, at least you protect yourself and your family from COVID. This is a dangerous thing. People don't seem to understand exactly how dangerous COVID is. You have a bunch of people out there not adhering to all the protocols that the powers that be bringing down to us. They may seem pretty trivial to you, but they're not trivial to me. And it shouldn't be trivial to you.
All right. I love it. Hey, great conversation as always. You know what I'm saying? Love your points. You're wrong. But I'm just saying I love your points. But So look, it's your boy DJ Hustle, my man Stelvio. That's us with the Funk Basement. We out. Check you out next time. Peace.
Peace.